Live from the virtual circuit, 24 Hours du Mans, otherwise known as Le Mans. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship Season 2, live on Apex Racing TV. Happy that you all could join us on this beautiful Friday evening. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary box is Dane Baird with Marco Barbonera down in the virtual production trailer. Dane, another round of this series, and we're quickly getting to the midway of this season, and the championship favorites starting to show themselves in each class, and we have a three-way battle for the LMP1 championship.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see at the top of LMP1, we've got 61 points, 60 points, and 58 points. There's the top three drivers there being separated by just 3 points, which is insane. We have only had 2 rounds, but they've given us a pretty good show so far. I think it's going to stay pretty close up there in LMP1. You can see LMP2 Pro now on the screen as well. There's 7 drivers and pretty close up there as well. You've got a 4-point gap between the top 3 drivers there. Timo Hayden didn't have the best round last time out, but still keeping up there with Alexis Babette. And yeah, but at LMP2 Pro they've been doing really well, and then massive field, quite a huge field of LMP2 AM drivers, and Tim Perry is currently leading that. But you can see there 5 points separating the top 3, and pretty much the 3 points I think is the maximum separating any 2 other drivers throughout that field. It's really close in an MP2 AM as well, as it was for the whole of last season. Hopefully it can carry on as we head into the 3rd round of the season.
And this 3rd round, definitely the most unique round. We started out at the Nürburgring, then went to the Hockenheimring. Now we're over in France at Le Mans, and this track, very famous for endurance racing, but Dane, we're only going racing today for an hour. This is a very long racetrack. It's gonna be short on the lap counter, but it's going to be a marathon for these drivers because this track is just so darn big.
Absolutely, but luckily for them, these cars are, as I like to say, quite literally made for this circuit. LMP, Le Mans prototype. They are literally made for Le Mans. It is what they're built for. So the cars handled it pretty well, and if you're driving a prototype in a prototype championship, you probably like Le Mans. I don't know of too many people that don't, other than our producer Marco Barbonera. He for some reason doesn't like the circuit. But despite the great racing that we get, last season's race at Le Mans was probably one of the races of the season. Out of the 6 rounds that we had, it was insanely good. We had a 3-way battle for the lead in LMP1, and it went right down to the end. It was absolutely brilliant, and hopefully we can get more of the same here today, because yeah, Le Mans, it's not maybe the best track to hot lap, even though I love hot lapping this circuit. But I can understand people that say, wait, it's not the best circuit to hot lap, because there are quite a few straight sections, but because of that, the racing is brilliant.
Taking a quick look at Alexander Spetz as he gets ready to start his first flying lap in his LMP1. 10 minutes to qualify here today at Le Mans. All right, he's already on a flying lap, trying to knock away another pole position for the number 115 on the track. Like I said, 10 minutes to qualify here, 7 minutes to go. That gives you just around enough time to hopefully get into flying laps, but Dane, these lap times are going to be in the many minutes worth of time, so these drivers need to make sure they're getting the most out of these flying laps, because they may only get one.
I wouldn't say that. I think actually last time out, I think we saw a 3rd lap from one of the drivers who was insanely quick. I think it actually might have been Alex Salmon. That time by, but the lap times for LMP1 are around about the 3-minute mark. There it is, 3 minutes 10 for Corbs, and then 3 minutes 7 for Spetz. That's not close at all. That's almost 4 seconds, the gap between those two there. And as the LMP2s will start making their way through, but 3 minutes 7, that gives you quite a bit of time to get a 2nd lap in. Some drivers might try and push it to 3 laps. It's going to be really tight for 3 laps if anyone does try to do that, as we have the first of the LMP2s getting into the action, and they are just under 3 minutes and 30 seconds there. Here is another LMP2 that we're riding on board with, and this is Roy Mass, and he is making his way through the 4 chicanes now. This is an awesome section of the circuit. Really tight and technical. Very easy to get wrong. Don't be surprised if we get a couple drivers hitting those curbs in the wrong places and ending up blowing the engine. That happened to every single car bar 2 in a recent 24 Hours of Le Mans League race I did in LMP2. So yeah, those curbs do not like the floor of the LMP2, and the engine takes quite a bit of damage from hitting those curbs in the forward chicanes. Hopefully we don't see too many of them, but I suspect we'll see 1 or 2 drivers fall victim to that.
3:07.117, the current fastest time in the LMP1 field from Alexander Spetz. Fastest of LMP2 Pro at 3:25.594 by Alexis Bebert in the 2:17. Fastest in LMP2 AM 3:27.168 by Chris Daines. So the lap time's a bit of a 20-second gap between LMP1 and LMP2. And Dane, we usually talk about the traffic that LMP1 has to deal with the LMP2 cars, because of course the LMP1s are a good bit faster than the LMP2s. But this track is big. I don't think they're going to reach them for that many laps. It might be a good handful of time before they even reach any traffic ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer than we would normally see hit, but yeah, that might actually help the LMP1s and LMP2s out. It might help everyone out with the LMP2 field possibly a bit more spread out. Although, as we saw last season, they were bump drafting the LMP2 down the Mulsanne straight, which was insane to watch because none of us in the production booth were expecting that at all. This time, I'll be expecting it, and if it doesn't happen, I'll be very disappointed because it was quite a sight seeing 3 cars and a train literally touching down the Mulsanne straight for most of the race, making a bit of a gap for themselves. Yeah, LMP2s are going to stay pretty close together throughout the race, I would imagine, but they'll be a bit more spread out than they otherwise would be after a couple of laps or so, because yeah, it's going to take the LMP1s, it's going to take them gaining about 30 seconds a lap. It'll take them 5 laps, around about that. So yeah, it's going to take them a while to get round, and yeah, of course 5 laps is a quarter of the race, so it's going to be a 15 to 20 minutes before they even reach the LMP2s. It's going to be a while, which yeah, like I said, is probably going to help everybody out just a little bit. We've seen quite a few times in this series that LMP1's making their way through LMP2s a bit too early in the race, and it can cause some havoc. So hopefully it's not too bad for everyone, as we've got some LMP1s joining the party at the top of the timing screen.
That was Lucky Brown going up there with a 3:08.06. Multiple LMP2s starting to come across the line. A 3:26.759 from Chris Daines. He'll improve on his time. Julian Boot, one of the drivers who had transitioned from LMP1 to LMP2 Pro. They're in a new class starting here at Le Mans. Paulo Munoz coming across the line. He's going to improve all the way to the top of the timing tower. Paulo Munoz for Pure Sims Esports going to grab the top spot in LMP2 Pro, 3:24.82.
Absolutely, that's an insanely quick time there. And Alexander Spetz possibly going for a 3rd lap. Already halfway round this 3rd lap, and with just under 2 minutes left, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it round in time. It's going to be tight, I would imagine, as he heads down into Mulsanne corner. Of course, he has pole position, and no one behind him is going to be close to finishing that 3rd lap, so it's not like he has to make another lap, and it's not like he's under any pressure to, but it could be interesting. He's coming down now towards Indianapolis. I think with a minute left, I think that might just be too much for him to try and make up all of that time. But yeah, like I said, he doesn't need to. With a minute to go, he's pretty much guaranteed pole position, it looks like.
Well, Spet's going to try and get another lap in. A little less than 1 minute to go here in the 10-minute qualifying. Trying to see if he can make his way around and improve on his time. He's already a solid 1 second over Lucky Brown. That 3:07.12, a blazing fast lap from the ARL Abruzzi eSports silver driver. Behind the wheel to 1:15. 30 seconds left as he works his way through the final couple of corners here at Le Mans. Will he be back to the stripe in time? 20 seconds. He might get there if he gets through these next couple of corners. Fine, the final 2 chicanes. Through the final 2 corners, and he is going to make it back to the line with a couple of seconds to spare. 5 to be exact. Comes across the line at 3:06.708. That is the time to beat, and Jan Korbs came across the line, I believe, maybe just a little bit too shy. So his time will not count on that lap, and we have Alexander Spets on the pole for LMP1 with a blazing fast time, 1.348 seconds over second place Lucky Brown. Jan Korbs, Andrew Jobson, and Alex Salmon round out your LMP1 starting grid. Paulo Munoz, Alexis Weber, Timo Heinen, Wes Van Dyke, and Owen Carroll, your top 5 for LMP2 Pro. Then we hop our way down to LMP2 AM. It's Chris Danes, Hans Blanquert, Kevin Richard, Kevin Kittleman, and Tim Perry, your top 5 for LMP2M. And the rest of the starting grid will scroll its way on your screen, courtesy of our producer, Marco Barbonero. So, Dane, obviously we're seeing the speed out of the LMP1s. It's coming from Alexander Spets, but the question is, will anybody be able to reach him in this race?
If anyone's going to be able to, I think it's going to be Alex Salmon. And the reason I say that is because it wasn't close in qualifying. Alex Salmon didn't take part in qualifying because he had a qualifying ban. We don't know what Alex's pace is. We know it's quick from last season, but compared to everybody else on the grid at the moment in LMP1, we have absolutely no idea. So this is the thing. We've seen that Alexander Spets clearly has the edge over the 3 drivers in the middle of that pack, but we haven't seen Alex Salmon. So if anyone's going to be Alexander Spets today, I would say it's going to be Alex Salmon. So for that reason, I'm going to say him. But that said, it is Le Mans, and there is quite a bit of drafting to be done. So as we saw in last season's race, basically anyone can win. So anyone that has half decent pace, which everyone in LMP1 has today, it could possibly win. So it's going to be interesting, as looks like the pace truck, as we love to see in this series, is going to start making its way through the Porsche curves, and we're going to get started.
And taking a look at the points before we head into today's race, Alex Salmon sits 1 point behind Jan Korbs. He needs a good race here. Alexander Spets sits a solid 20 points behind second place and a 21 points behind your current points leader, Jan Korbs. So he needs a good day as well. And we'll see if Alex Salmon can keep up with the rest of the LMP1s and find himself at the front of the field very soon. But everybody pacing behind the iRacing pace truck, you can see the LMP2 start to create themselves into view behind the LMP1 field. There are all the LMP2s. They'll start a good bit behind the LMP1s, and undoubtedly we'll see the LMP1s catch the LMP2s at some point, but this track is gigantic, so it is going to take a while before they even reach that point. This circuit, roughly 8.5 miles in length, double the size of Road America, and almost double the size of any other road course that you could possibly think of in the world. This track built for endurance racing. We're not going to go racing for 24 hours. We're only going to go racing for 1 hour, but it's still going to provide thrills, spills, and excitement that only the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship can provide. The iRacing.com official pace truck going to make its way down into the pit lane. And the LMP1s will snake their way through the Ford chicanes and get started for round 3 of the campaign. There goes the iRacing pace truck diving its way into the pit lane. It'll lead the field through the first couple of Ford chicanes, then make its way out of the racetrack. Alexander Spets leads the field to green. We're underway. Round 3 from Le Mans is green. The LMP1s get up to speed as they make their way through the first couple of corners at Le Mans, through the turns 2 and 3. The LMP2 field now is underway, spearheaded by Paulo Munoz, who started on the pole for P2 Pro. Oh, and already a car around. That's Jan Korb's points leader.
Oh dear. That is a heavily damaged R18. Who's that? Spets. Spets is going slowly. Maybe a slowdown, maybe damage, we don't know yet. Someone's towed to the pit lane. Lucky Brown. Has there been some kind of big contact there? Because something definitely has happened in LMP1, and that must have been an incident between Lucky Brown and Corbs. Let's see what happened here. Alex Salmons walked away with the lead after all of this. Oh no. Oh, both of them just losing the rear end there. All on their own. Andrew Thompson just about makes it through there, and Spets slowdown penalty must have run wide at Tetra Rouge there, because Salmon now has, what, 2.5, 3 second lead. And that is, look at Corbs, he's losing so much time, getting overtaken by some LMP2s. That's a dangerously broken car. It's a bit risky to try and make your way to pit lane like that, because you're going to get passed by all of this LMP2 traffic, and he's got 90 degrees of left lock on the steering to keep it going in a straight line.
Chris Daines also chose himself back into the pit lane. Wondering what happened to that LMP2 AM driver, but your current P1 leader now is Alex Salmon, 5th to 1st in just a couple of corners here at Le Mans. And the same issue for the 327 of Chris Daines. He makes contact with the 343 of Kevin Richard. The Devotion Sim Racing driver caught up in that one. Another loose driver, that's Tim Perry, Kaboom Motorsport 383.
Championship leader.
Everybody getting loose down in turns 7 and 8.
Someone's laid down some oil or something. That's actually impressive that so many drivers get caught out. It's a crest. That's why it's a crest, and with the cold tires, the drivers basically had no time to warm their tires up, because of course you start right by Porsche curves. That's so sad to see. Corb's going so slowly through there. He's only just made it round Mulsanne corner. Yeah, and you can see the leading LMP2s making their way through Indianapolis and Arnage now, so yeah, he's lost out a lot of time there. He's got to basically hope that the other couple of LMP1s in this race all wreck out as well, because otherwise he's going to be losing quite a few points from today's event, which is definitely not what you want to see. As Salmon finishes the first lap of the race with a 3:21.0. Of course, that lap time doesn't really matter. What does matter, he's got a 2.5 second gap over Alexander Spets. So yeah, Alex is out in lead of the race. I thought he might be the one to challenge Alexander, but I didn't think it would be that early.
Well, it does lead the way now for the LMP1s, and a bit of a change as well for P2 AM. Kevin Kittleman now leads the way there. We're taking a look at the 333 of Hans Blanquart for Stage 1 Racing. Sits in second place for LMP2 AM, 10th place overall on the racetrack, as everybody gets through their first laps, and Jan Korb still nursing that LMP1 around, heading through the Porsche curves. They'll continue to nurse it around and get it into the pit lane and grab some damage repair to hopefully make it back out onto the racetrack. But we stay looking at an LMP2 AM battle. Aaron Smith in the 342, Matthew McBride in the 318 behind.
Yep, the field's starting to spread out just a little bit, but you have these little pockets where there are some cars pretty close together, and they're going to stay together, you would expect. As, oh dear, what's happened there? Slowdown, must be. And they're going to get another one as well, going wide at Tetra Rouge. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the 387 and the 391. They're going to try and go 3 wide, bump drafting down the Mulsanne straight. That's what you want to see. as they head down and towards the first chicane. Now the 391 going to the middle. They're going to try and force their way 3 wide. No, there's no room there. Don't try and push your luck. And they eventually filter out single file in front. And yeah, everybody just calming down slightly. But that was pretty risky stuff there through Tetra Rouge and onto the Mulsanne straight.
Marco Pavona working his way around in the 393, getting by Juice Baumeister and Aaron Smith. But there goes Aaron Smith with a huge dive up the inside. He's going to completely overshoot the corner. Through the gravel he goes. He's going to need to serve that slowdown, then merge his way back into the race. But he went for the dive, couldn't make it stick, and took a trip through the beach sand there on the inside of that corner. Is now battling the 348. It's Juice Baumeister. Here comes Jean-Francois Holigorch into the battle with Aaron Smith.
Getting a little bit squirrely on the exit there. They're really pump drafting in towards Indianapolis there. You could see inside of whose car was that? Looks like maybe Timo Hayden. Yes, you could see inside the front bumper there. That's how close they were heading into Indianapolis. That was very loose from the 358, loose on exit as well. Oh dear, is Kittelman going to try and send it up the inside into Arnage, the tightest corner on the circuit? They make a little bit of contact, somehow managing to keep it all in one piece. But now Blancois trying to go past, and he's just about done it. He's side by side with Musk. They head down towards the Porsche curves. Are they going to go side by side?
That was the battle for the lead. Kittelman now has it. Here comes Roy Moss now looking to the right side. 2 by 2 for the 2 rows. Contact made between Craig Jones and Cesar Cabral as they work their way through the corner. Now leading LMP2M is Roy Moss, Kevin Kittelman, Hans Blackwork, Craig Jones, Cesar Cabral, your top 5.
What a move. He was under pressure from Blackwood alongside, uses the draft to Kittelman in front of him, and builds up so much overspeed that not only does he get away from Blanquad, he goes for the move up the inside into the Porsche curves as well. Awesome stuff there from Roy Maas. Oh, hello.
Battle for the LMP1 lead. It's Alex Salmon versus Alexander Spetz. 1/10 the gap. Here comes Spetz, gonna try and take the lead back. He started on the pole in LMP1, trying to retake it from Alex Salmon. They're side by side, heading into this next left-hander. That's gonna give Salmon the advantage on the inside. Around the outside goes Spetz, turns to inside, and the 115 goes back to the lead.
Is Salmon going to try something into the Mulsanne corner? I doubt it. I think he's going to play the smart move here. Maybe look to the inside, but not actually go for it. Yep, that's exactly what's done, because this next section of circuit, flat out, so much drafting can be done there. Gap's about 0.4 of a second. Now watch that drop. Spets straight to the right-hand side of the circuit to try and minimize that as much as possible. He's already cut out half the gap. It's only less than, as I say that, it goes from 0.2 to 1/10. Now half a tenth. He's going to go around the outside, and they're going to go side by side through Indianapolis and examine around the inside, around the outside, but he just about can't make it work.
So Spetz still leads ahead of Alex Salmon for OCM Racing, and they're working their way through the corner now. Will we see another pass for the lead? Timo Hayden working his way down the Mulsanne straight out of turn 15. Roy Moss, your current leader of LMP2M, ahead of Kevin Kittelman. Hans Blackworth behind. Top 4 in LMP2M, all within 1 second. The top 5 within 1.5 seconds. You can see them all right here in this camera shot. It's down the inside. Goes Hans Blackworth on Kevin Kittelman, looking for P2. And he will grab that second place spot away in the 333. Will Kittelman have anything to say about it? And I'll put Blackworth up into second.
Oh, they're going side by side. This is down in LMP2 Pro, and the move is made before they even reach Indianapolis. The 284 of Van Dyke looked like it was going to go down the inside there. Now let's see Kittelman staying back. That's interesting as they're going towards Indianapolis, very close as they head into the left hand and now into the tightest and slowest corner on the circuit, Arnage. where we saw the coming together. Oh, and Mats is around. Oh no, not the entire lead pack.
Everybody caught up in that at the front of the LMP2M. Unhappy drivers over the iRacing radio. As that caught up, your 2 leaders, that puts Cesar Cabral now to the lead. Hans Blockward in second to battle with Craig Jones for third. John Francois Helicorch in 4th place, and Marco Pavona now rounds out your top 5 for LMP2M. But the 2 leaders make contact. Roy Moss into the wall.
Moss made his own mistake there, just lost it on the apex of the corner. You'll see on board from Hans now, he had absolutely nowhere to go. Going through the corner, he lost it on the braking. The 358 comes back across the circuit. Hans had absolutely nowhere to go. Then collects Kittelman, who was trying to avoid them on the other side of the circuit. The 317, the 388 managed to get through. But yeah, that's really throwing a mix into things. You can see the damage on that car. He has to go into the pits, and he does. But just looking at the order now, Kittelman down in 12th. And the big loser there, of course, was Mars. He's had to tow to the pit lane. He's down in 28th overall. That's 17th in LMP2M as they're going 4 wide into turn 1.
Everybody racing for positions now in LMP2M. This is the battle for looks to be 6th place on the racetrack. Kieran Smart now battling with Matthew McBride up ahead. Aaron Smith leads this group. It's McBride, Smart, Perry, Leclerc, and I believe we can throw Julian Boutet in there as well. No, we cannot. So it ends at Leclerc. 5 cars all battling here in LMP2M for position on the racetrack.
This is insane. Weaving down the Mulsanne straight, trying to break the draft, but that is a drafting train. Now Kieran Smart, bump drafting, yes, maybe, yes. Pump drafting down the Mulsanne straight. We're only 12 minutes in and the race is already insane. They won't be able to keep this up though, because eventually they're gonna wreck, so they've got to calm down slightly, surely. As the 348 to Baumeister is just in front of them as well, he might end up getting dragged into this as well.
We continue to race down the Mulsanne straight. There goes the 318 now looking to make a move. Upcoming turn 13 is a left-hander, so he will have the inside advantage, and he's going to take that spot. That puts Matthew McBride up into 6th place. Aaron Smith back into 7th, and here comes Kieran Smart for Track Scotland, now right over the back bumper, the back wing, I should say, of Aaron Smith, trying to get by him for the 7th spot in LMP2M. Side by side once again as they dive back into the corner. Smith trying to cover off the spot, and he will for the time being. That'll keep him in 7th place, but Kieran Smart not over yet. They're going to go battling once again. Here's a battle in LMP2 Pro. This is Owen Carroll versus Wes Van Dyke in the 284. Crossover from Van Dyke looking for the spot.
And he might just get the run here, although Carroll does have a little bit of draft in front from Timo Hayden. And he does have the inside line here as well, because the track does curve to the left. But Van Dyke so close, almost making contact, but getting back into the draft as they head down into the Porsche curves now. 14 minutes on the clock. He'll lose a little bit of time through here because of the draft stopping any sort of aerodynamics working on his car at all. And he'll lose all of the downforce. Running wide as well, he'll get a nice big slowdown penalty as well, and that's going to be the end of that battle. But that is not the end of this battle, as Kieran Smart riding on board with him now onto Baumeister. I told you that he might end up in this battle, and he is now. Kieran Smart up the inside into the Porsche curves and makes that move very nicely indeed.
Racing their way through the Porsche curves, one of the fastest portions of this racetrack. Very easy to make a mistake. As Smart now in 6th place, and everybody is still battling in this little group of cars. About 5 LMP2M cars all racing for lead lap position on the racetrack. Now leading the way of LMP2M after that incident that we saw in the last lap. Craig Jones leads the way. Cesar Cabral in second, Jean-Francois Hellegorch in third, Marco Pavona in fourth, Matthew McBride rounds out your top 5. So positions constantly changing here in LMP2M, and you can see Jan Korb's got his damage fixed in the pit lane, trying to work his way back up into the LMP1 field. He's still on the lead lap. I guess that's a glorious thing about Le Mans. He didn't lose a lap in the pit lane, but he is a solid 2 minutes behind your current leader, Alexander Spets.
Yeah, Salmon dropping back slightly, and there is Andrew Thompson, first race in the championship, I believe, for Mr. Thompson there in the 123, and he's 50 seconds off after 15 minutes, but he was talking to me a couple of days ago before the race, and he said that this is his first time ever racing in the LMP1s. He only bought the car this week, so he hasn't had too much experience, whereas I know for a fact that Spets and Salmon have been driving this car for years. So it's not actually very surprising that he's a little bit off the pace here, especially at such a long circuit. But this battle is not calming down, is it? That's the head down the Mulsanne straight between the 2 chicanes, this is. Oh, and you can see the driver's legs. That's how close they were. You could see into the bumper and the drive into the cockpit. The driver's legs, McBride's run wide. That's the position lost. Straight away, Smart gets through. The exit was just so much better, you can see straight away. And yeah, Smart moves himself up into 5th, but will he be able to keep it? That's the question, because McBride now in the draft. This could spice up a little bit.
On board with Matthew McBride in the 318. Now in 6th place, trying to get back to Kieran Smart. All of them drafting down the Mulsanne straight. Looks more like Daytona or Talladega than it does Le Mans, but everybody just trying to maximize all they can. And sometimes that slipstream isn't enough. You need to have that bump draft going down the corner. And here goes Jan Korbs. He is part of the LMP1 field, just working his way through LMP2 traffic, not racing them for spots on the racetrack. So Jan Korb's going to go right on by. The LMP2 AM drivers will let him go through as Korbs tries to catch up to Alex Salmon and Alexander Spets up at the front, and Andrew Thompson as well, who currently sits in 3rd. So we look at the LMP1 leader, Alexander Spets. He's built a bit of a gap now over Alex Salmon and the OCM Racing number 128. So Spets leads the way. He started on the pole as well, lost it a bit earlier, as you can recall, that first lap incident. He had a bit of a slowdown going through turn 7 and 8, so he had to slow up heading onto the Mulsanne straight, but he has recovered very, very well indeed. Now leads the way in LMP1 as Dave, we're reaching that point of the race. Pit stops are going to start to work into the conversation, and a bit more challenging at Le Mans because you're only passing the pit road entry once every 3 minutes or so. You need to be careful for when you come into the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely, but you need to be more careful going side by side through the Porsche curves, and Julien Boutet does the right thing there. And backs out. There's a car off the circuit on the outside there, and that's Tim Perry. That's a different car. I didn't even see that one. Someone went off in the first part, but Tim Perry was facing the wrong way around. What's happened here?
At a replay. Issue with Tim Perry in the 383. Gets up on the curves. I thought that was going to be the thing that sent him around, and it is on the Ford curbs. Like you mentioned in qualifying, Dane, they get just a little bit too much on those curves, and around they go.
You got lucky there. If he'd taken any more curb than that, it would have slammed up against the floor, and you can say goodbye to your powertrain. But luckily, he only hit it enough to unsettle the car rather than break the car. So he's got a bit lucky in that regard. But yeah, he's lost quite a bit of time there, unfortunately for him. But here is Boutet, and he's locked in this battle with Baumeister in front of him. Despite the fact that they say they're 30 seconds apart on the timing tower, it's not actually. It's just that Julian's 50 seconds behind the leader of LMP2 Pro, and there's a car up the inside. That's an LMP2, and that's Leclerc.
Marcel Leclerc working his way around the 218, or at least trying to. And these are racing in different divisions. Julien Boutet, LMP2 Pro, Marcel Leclerc, LMP2, and they don't need to make way, but obviously Marcel Leclerc wants to get by because he wants to race with the LMP2 drivers he's fighting in the championship.
You can actually see in that camera angle down the Mulsanne straight. Oh dear.
There it is with
Andy's
Andrew
in the
Thompson on the
gravel.
front. Yes, he was. So Andrew
Oh,
Thompson.
race 3 wide into Mulsanne corner.
They get it settled down. Locking up is the 323, Marcel Leclerc. He was able to get by both Julien Boutet and Juice Baumeister at that. So now Marcel Leclerc up into 9th LMP2M. 4 cars you can all throw under a blanket right now as they race down the straightaway.
But yeah, I was just about to say, when that shot down the Mulsanne straight, you could see down the whole thing, and it was actually a brilliant shot because you could see the LMP1s catching them. You can see on the track map as well, they're heading into Indianapolis. The LMP1s are just down the road. No corners separating them, well, there are now, but yeah, those LMP1s are about to start making their way past these cars, and what did I say in qualifying, 15 to 20 minute mark? I was a bit optimistic about that. It's 21 minutes. I reckon it will be a couple more minutes before we see them, but yeah, they're coming, and those LMP2 drivers will be seeing them in their relative boxes, assuming they have them open, and yeah, it's thinking, oh dear, I might only have 3 minutes left of this race.
Time also quickly running out as these drivers have only completed, I believe, 6 laps. They've completed 6 laps. Alexander Spetz will come around to complete 7 laps at the line. We're on lap 7 now, but time also quickly starting to run out as we are already nearing halfway done, and only 7 laps have been completed. Pit stops are coming up. The last half of this race is coming up, all here on Apex Racing TV. It's just, if you thought this first half was exciting, we always see a more exciting second half, so make sure you stay tuned here on the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship, because it is only going to get more exciting after the pit stops are over. And Alexander Spetz finds himself into the pit lane. I think I called it, Dave. Pit stops are starting now. Oh, huge damage! Unscheduled pit stop. Alexander Spetz, the entire front end of the car is gone. What on earth happened to your race leader?
He's
locked up. Bruce eSports to silver.
Oh no. Oh!
He gets too much on the fork, curves it hard into the wall, goes to 115. He sends it back into the pit lane, but what an unfortunate incident for Alexander Spetz. So Alexander will make his way into the lead, just harsh on the curb. It sent him right into the wall.
And yeah, luckily the pit lane's right there. I wonder if he's going to get an unsafe pit entry. I don't think he will. But I would love to see this from Alex Hammond's view, because it must have been a bit worrying for him. He's just clobbered over that curb. And yeah, the curb says, you want to abuse me? Here's a wall. Make friends. And yeah, let's see what Alex Hammond sees, because he can't see him at this point. There he is. He goes around the corner. He's seeing none of this. Oh, what's that smoke? Oh, where? He actually can't see him at all. He can't see that through that smoke at all. He has no idea what's just happened.
Such an unfortunate Alexander Spetz incident there, and I believe he's getting penalized now as well, as we're hearing from Marco.
Unsafe pit entry? I think it is, because he didn't take the appropriate entry. Has he? Is he out of the race? He is. He's disconnected.
What an unfortunate day for Alexander Spetz. He qualified on the pole, had a great run going, had the best car by a mile, and one simple mistake is going to send him out in a huge move from Marcel Leclerc as they work their way down the straightaway and working their way into Indianapolis now. Juice Baumeister behind. Same thing with Thomas Sorensen, but Leclerc runs wide.
Oh, he gained one position and then lost 2 in the next corner. But now it's completely pressure off for Alex Salmon now. All he has to do is bide his time, manage the traffic. He's got 35 minutes because there is a minute and 16 to Thompson, who we've seen he's gained a minute and 16 in 25 minutes. He's clearly quite a bit faster, as we're seeing a bit of side-by-side action to the Porsche curves here, and they're still going side-by-side. I'll have to talk about Salmon in a moment. So they've just about calmed down now, but like I was saying, he has to manage the 1 minute 17 gap to Thompson, who he's probably gaining a couple of seconds on a lap, on a fast lap, and Corbs, who's running about the same pace as him, but he's 2.5 minutes down, and he has no one else on the same lap as him. So he's basically guaranteed the win unless he gets involved with traffic or makes a mistake on his own, because there's no way he's just getting overtaken on raw pace alone. So there's absolutely no pressure now for Alex Salmon. He's just got to do his thing basically, and he's right in the middle of some LMP2 traffic at the moment, but once he gets some clear air, surely you would expect him to just chill out a bit.
No mistakes definitely sounds simple, but as we know, not the most simple thing to do, especially if Alex Salmon is working his way through LMP2 traffic, which he is at the moment on the track. So we'll see if he is able to keep himself clean as we near halfway done with this race. Alex Salmon leads the way in LMP1. Then it is Andrew Thompson, Jan Corbs, and Lockie Brown, the only 4 LMP1 drivers on the track right now after Alexander Spetz retired into the pit lane. Top 5 for LMP2 Pro. Paulo Munoz leads the way there. Alexis Febert in second place, Timo Hayden in third, Owen Carroll fourth, and Wes Van Dyke rounds out your top 5. Julian Boutet finds himself a little bit further down in sixth. In seventh place, Eriges Jomontas never even started this race, so he is ranked as out of the race and never even started. Craig Jones leads the way for LMP2 AM. Jean-Francois Hellegorch for Devotion Sim Racing in second place. Cesar Cabral in third. Kieran Smart in fourth. Matthew McBride rounds out your top 5 for LMP2 AM. But we're nearing halfway. Pit stops getting ready to commence here on Apex Racing TV. We're glad you all could join us here for the Apex Racing League Wave Italy Prototype Championship. And an engine failure now for Julian Boutet in the 218.
He's hit a curb. He's either hit Tetra Rouge or the final chicane. Yep, you can hear it. Straight away it's gone. So my theory is he's hit Tetra Rouge on the inside and he is clobbered over that inside curb. And he has blown the engine. It happened to my car in that 24-hour race I was talking about twice. The first time we blew up was just after Tetra Rouge. The second time it was exactly that position. The first time we hit the car on the curbs in the 4 chicanes, and the second time was on Tetra Rouge. So he's hit one of those curbs. And that's what I was talking about in qualifying, and it is so easy to do because the line there, you have to be so precise, and even the smallest of margins offline, and your car's toast. And the best part is you don't even know about. I would actually love to see the first part of that lap on board of his car, because you can tell when it starts happening. The lights light up on a dashboard, which we won't be able to see from the spectator cameras, but you'll be able to hear the engine sputtering. That's really unfortunate. Alex Salmon, he's maintaining the gap to Corbs, and he's gained 15 seconds on Thompson, so he's showing no signs of slowing down, but yeah, I don't think he's going to try and risk anything too dramatic. Let's see what happens. I'm listening. So nothing sounds bad at the moment. This is a good camera. Let's see if he hits this curb. Let's see. Enter the 4 chicanes. It's usually the first right-hand side curb, and he's not hit that. So then it might be one of these, or he's hit Tetra Rouge. So no, he's not hit these curbs at all. So I reckon it's Tetra Rouge then. And if I'm wrong, then I don't know what it could be.
we'll grab a look here on the replay. The 218 for Devotion Sim Racing, an unfortunate end to his day, an expired engine, as we are investigating now exactly what that could be. Expecting it to be just a curb hit, expired the engine there, as my colleague Dane Baird is assuming it is. We'll see if he hits anything here heading on the Mulsanne straight.
He hasn't hit anything. That's really weird. I don't know what it could be then, as they're going side by side in front of him at the moment. Maybe he's hit something on a previous lap, because the engines don't just blow up, so he's hit something, but usually they blow up pretty quickly. Maybe it's one of these chicanes in the Mulsanne straight. It looks like he's driving really reserved. It doesn't look like he's hitting anything, so that's strange. That's really strange.
Making his way down to turn.
You can see it here. He's losing. He's in the draft and he's losing. The car has lost power. He'll have the lights up on his dashboard. He'll know something's wrong. Something's not right, clearly. He's probably just trying to make his way to the end, and then as he comes around the corner here, engine says goodbye, and right now.
And there it is.
Bang. So that's really strange. The only thing I can think of then is he's hit a curb in the Porsche curves. That's the only other curb I know of on the circuit that can actually damage the car like that. Or somehow the car's managed to last over a lap since hitting the curb. It's an odd one, that is. That's very, very weird. But unfortunate nonetheless. He's had to pay a nice 4-minute tow from there, I believe. So definitely not what you would expect. And there is the race leader into the pits.
Over halfway done with the race now. There goes your race leader. Alex Salmon is in. A couple of LMP2 pro drivers also came in. There's your LMP2 AM leader, Craig Jones, making his way into the pit lane as well. So pit stops in full swing now, like they usually are, at about halfway through these Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship races. And everybody in the pit lane for fuel. Doesn't look like anybody going to really grab any tires, but fuel and away they go. Paulo Munoz going to head back to the racetrack to reassume the LMP2 LMP2 Pro lead once Hayden and Van Dyke make their way down into the pit lane. So everybody making their way into the pit lane at least one time here today. And right now, Alex Salmon did come into the pit lane and is out of the pit lane. And I do need to mention that he still has a gap of about 2.5 minutes over Andrew Thompson. Replay of Thomas Sorensen. He missed the pit lane entry there, it looked like, Dane.
Yeah, not too sure what's happened there.
Now on Lockie Brown. He's been trying to work his way up through the field after he had an unfortunate incident on lap number 1. There's Andrew Thompson in the 123 for Performance Link eSports, and he is sitting a good bit behind Alex Salmon, but he's also sitting a good bit in front of Jan Korbs. Now, Korbs was also involved in that incident with Lockie Brown on the first lap, and as you can see by the lap time comparison, last time by 3:17.47 for Andrew Thompson, 3:09.38 for Jan Korbs. So Korbs is etching away at that gap by multiple seconds at a time. 12.6 seconds on lap 6, 9.3, 8.2, 8.2 again. And we'll see what it is here on lap 10 as Korbs comes across the line, 7.6. So even more etching away at that gap is Jan Korbs, as now Andrew Thompson makes his way down the Mulsanne straight, and as more cars make their way to the front straightaway, we'll see if we'll see any more drivers make their way into the pit lane this time. We're still waiting on a majority of the field to make their way in for their one pit stop of the day. There's a gap once more, a little bit more visualized between Andrew Thompson and Jan Korbs, and you can see it went from over 80 seconds to now down to 34 in just about 5 laps. So Jan Korbs is a man on a mission right now, trying to catch up for P2 and walk away with a good finish, which is going to be important because Jan Korbs came into this race as your points leader. Oh, with Alex Salmon 1 point behind, by the way. So if Jan Korbs goes up and finishes second, he's at least going to make up a little bit of points on Alex Salmon before he overtakes him in the points lead. As there goes Timo Hayden, Wes Van Dyke into the pit lane. Next LMP2 driver that we're expecting to come in is Kieran Smart, Cesar Cabral, Matthew McBride, all still need to make their way in from the LMP2 AM group. So does Leclerc and Tim Perry, and I believe once those top 5 for LMP2 AM come in, pit stops will be over and done here at Le Mans. Marcel Leclerc with an issue in the 323. Gets up on the curb and around he goes, locks up the tires, but ends up in the runoff area. Luckily, no damage to that car, so we'll get to continue racing on through. But Andrew Thompson, Jan Korbs from LMP1 still have yet to come in, and we're still waiting on looks to be Leclerc to come into the pit lane. Once Leclerc comes in, that'll be everybody from LMP2 in and done with their pit stops. And then we're just waiting on Andrew Thompson from LMP1 to finish up his pit cycle. And then we'll be racing once more, and everybody will be good to the end with roughly 24 minutes left. Alex Salmon leads the way by about 1 minute over Andrew Thompson.
Well, I've just gone and done some digging because I was really intrigued as to what happened to Julian, and there was contact on lap 1, turn 1, and his car was lifted up off the ground. Somehow we missed this. It was lifted up off the ground and slammed back down the rear of the car onto the ground. Andrew Thompson heading into the pits now misjudged it. No. Extremely careful. He really didn't want to speed into the pits, did he? He really didn't. But he's made his way into the pits, but his car was lifted up and slammed back onto the ground. It gave him a bit of rear damage that was pretty difficult to see, and I think it's a delayed reaction from that, because I went through lap by lap. He didn't hit a single curb or anything else for that matter, so it must have just been really delayed damage from that, like 20 minutes later damage. I think we're seeing exactly what did happen to it. So, yeah, it was a really weird one. The contact just sent his car up, the rear of his car up, and slammed back down. Must have damaged the floor and the engine at the time, and he was losing through the Mulsanne straight to the drivers in front of him in their draft. He was losing a little bit of speed every time, but it was particularly bad on that last lap, and I think that's when he realised that I pushed it a bit too far here. And yeah, he did. I don't know if he knew he had damage, but if he did, yeah, he pushed it a bit far. And yeah, if I knew that I had damage, I would have pitted as soon as possible to try and get that fixed. But yeah, just really unfortunate for him that he didn't really get much of a warning, and then bam, goodbye goes the engine. So yeah, really unfortunate for him. But meanwhile, Alex Salmon out in front. He's got a minute's lead over Thompson. And you also have Korbs, who is a minute and a half behind. He's catching up slightly. Yeah, he's comfortably out in front there, and doing pretty well indeed. This is the battle for 4th in LMP2 AM. We've got Craig Jones with Kieran Smart just behind. And will Smart be able to make a move into the Porsche curves? I wouldn't really normally call this an overtaking opportunity, but apparently, according to these drivers, it is.
And we'll see as they work their way through the Porsche curbs. Craig Jones versus Kieran Smart as they work their way through, and Smart not able to get close enough to make that overtake happen. eSport just following right in that slipstream of Craig Jones. SCCR Sim Sports versus Track Scotland, the 388 versus the 339 as they work their way back to the front straightaway. Will the forward curbs change anything in this battle?
Jones doing well to hold off Smart. For now, Marakal goes into the pit lane. He'll drop back. Craig Jones will inherit third position. Smart up into fourth now.
Well, pit stops are done. 20 minutes left here in the race. Round 3 of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. And if you're viewing this stream on YouTube, we thank you for joining us here for today's race. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button here on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. And click that notification bell as well. Get notified every time we go live here on Apex Racing TV to catch all the exciting action from iRacing, from Apex Racing Leagues to official series and more. You can catch it all here on Apex Racing TV. And if you're over on the Twitch side of things, thank you for joining us on twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV. And if you have decided to join us, if you're using the live timing feature on Apex Racing TV, viewing over on Twitch allows for lower latency, so you'll be able to better keep up with the action using the live timing over there. So head over to twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV, grab a follow over there, and make sure to tune into all the action over there as well. And on social media, follow it at Apex Racing TV everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, and more. Anywhere you can find us on social media, use at Apex Racing TV. And make sure you're posting your screenshots from this race if you're a competitor or a viewer. Hashtag Apex Racing TV as Hans Blackcourt is into the grass and into the wall. What on earth happened to the 333 Stage 1 racing machine? And he is the LMP2 AM leader as well. Just overcooks it, Dane. Right into the wall he goes. Not a hard hit. Doesn't look like a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to be doing as the class leader. Yeah, he's yeah, that's really not what you want to see as the class leader. Smart has got past Jones, and yeah, he's running nicely in third. Jones hasn't dropped back though. He's staying on him, so we could see this battle evolve over the last 15 minutes or so in the race. You can see on the track map on the right hand side, pretty spread out so far, but only 310 separating second and third, and then MP2 Pro actually, as they come to cross the line now and head down in towards turn number 1. Babette and Timo Hayden in second and third, and LMP2 Pro. And looking through the rest of the field, there's also a gap of 3/10 of a second between Sorensen and Marakal, and 11th and 12th in MP2 AM. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Most of the drivers seeming to be spread out with a gap of more than a second between them. But hopefully we can get some more action towards the end of the race. We've had 2 rounds worth of action so far in this race, to be honest.
And we're nearing the end of this race as well. About 15 minutes left and only a handful of laps. As each lap here at Le Mans is roughly about 3 minutes long. So these drivers are running out of time. And also, Dane, running out of overtaking opportunities. Because like you mentioned, you wouldn't really call the Porsche curves an overtaking opportunity. We haven't really seen many overtakes in the Ford chicanes. The first couple of chicanes, not really that much of an overtake opportunity. Really seems like the Mulsanne Straight and the 2 chicanes on the Mulsanne Straight are where a lot of these moves are being made. Same thing in the Indianapolis section, turns 20 through 22. A lot of moves being made there, but they're only going to have maybe about 5 more opportunities through each of those sectors to make moves on cars. If they're not making overtakes now, they might run out of time quicker than they think. Diving back through turns 10. Kieran Smart in second place, and he didn't make up that much time to Blancourt when Hans Blancourt went into the wall. So luckily he didn't lose that much time in the 333. Kieran Smart still about 15 seconds back, but he has 2 cars behind Jean-Francois Halagorch and Craig Jones to battle with, and they're going battling into the corner side by side, almost 3 wide as they make their way into turn 13. To the inside now, the 356, Jean-Francois Halagorch trying to take that spot away, but he can't. Kieran Smart keeps it.
Oh, they're going side by side now. Jones trying to make a move up the inside towards Morsan corner, but Hedegaard has got the draft from Smart in front. It's going to be a tough one for Jones to try and make the move, and he doesn't end up doing it. But now, this is where Smart has his work cut out for him because he's got 2 cars behind him. Jones is going to have double draft here in towards Indianapolis. This is going to be a little bit close, I think, between these drivers because the draft is the longest flat-out section on the circuit. So the draft is going to be insane. As we look behind, you can see there he is behind. He pulls out of it. Jones isn't going to, though. He goes to the inside towards Indianapolis and just backs out at the very last second. But this is heating up to be a good battle for those final podium positions.
Battle for the second place here in LMP2 and Kieran Smart versus, and I just looked this up, so I do apologize to Jean-Francois Halagorch. I think that's how we're supposed to pronounce it. I still don't know, but please feel free to reach out so we can get your name correct. Google Translate might get it wrong as well, but we'll try our best to get your name right now. But these guys all fighting for second place in LMP2 and here's Andrew Thompson battling with Jan Korbs, and Thompson trying to hold on for his best finish of the season in LMP1, and I believe his first finish of the season in LMP1 at that. And finishing in second place will be great, but there goes right around Jan Korbs, and Dane, he has had such a great run as Blancourt's in the pit lane.
Oh dear. Might have...
Could that be from the same incident or a new incident that possibly happened?
It doesn't look like he's lost much time, so I don't think it would be a new incident. Maybe he's got some kind of warning on the dashboard that he is deciding not to ignore. Maybe.
Let's take a look at a replay.
Oh,
Let's see if there's anything new. So he makes his way out of the pit lane and he'll rejoin the group at about 9th place in LMP2M. So that puts Kieran Smart now to the lead. Jean-Francois Halagorch into second place. Then Craig Jones, Cesar Cabral, now Tim Perry makes his way into the top 5. And Dane, all day it has been heartbreak for a lot of great drivers and a lot of shuffling around position. I don't think we even mentioned Kieran Smart at the beginning of this race, and now they're up here leading LMP2M.
Absolutely, and yeah, Smart is, he's got a bit of a gap behind, not the biggest gap, but it's there. And we'll see if he can hold on to it. Just over 10 minutes left in this race. He's going to have his work cut out from it, but he's looking good out there in front. He's looking pretty quick. Hedegaard is staying with him, but that's probably more due to the draft than anything else. Jones is dropping back slightly, as is Cabral. So yeah, he's looking good out there in front.
Here's the battle a little bit further back, as it is about split into 2 different battles. Craig Jones and Cesar Cabral battling, and then Kieran Smart, Jean-Francois Halagorch up ahead for the top 4 spots in LMP2M. And then you can look further down, Tim Perry in 5th. A good ways back from this battle. It's a huge slipstream and a block. He tried to go to the left side, nowhere to go as Craig Jones blocks Cabral. They make their way through Indianapolis. That was very close to being an incident there as they worked their way back on to the straightaway, heading down into the Porsche curve. Cabral stays in fourth. Craig Jones keeps third.
Super close between these two. Is he going to send it down the inside? Yes, he is. Cabral up the inside. Is he going to make the corner? Yes, he does. Oh, is Craig Jones going to try and make another move there? I think he might have just got a 1x. He cut up all over the grass. He's not happy. He's flashing the headlights. And with 10 minutes to go in this race, they head through karting and out through the Corvette curves. And yeah, the leaders are leaving them for dust. And there is, who is that? Corbs. Yes, it is Corbs making his way through traffic, and Salmon closer to lapping Corbs than being lapped. And oh, it's just gone from bad to worse for Mars as he finds himself possibly in the wall in that second chicane. Obviously he was leading in MP2 for a bit, and then of course lost it on zone in Arnage and got involved in that big incident. But yeah, it's not going too well for him, but it is going pretty well for Paulo Munoz. He took the lead very, very early on in this race, and actually from the start of the race he was on pole position, wasn't he? So yeah, he's done a brilliant job out there.
The entirety of LMP2M. I need just a quick confirmation on this, but if my timing screen is correct, the entirety of LMP2M has not changed since the drop of the green flag 50 minutes ago. Munoz started on the pole, Alexis Bebbert in second, Timo Hayden, Wes Van Dijk, and Owen Carroll, all 5 drivers. And they're all still the top 5 in LMP2M. So a great day for Paulo Munoz, and nobody else has been able to pass anybody in that group as they stay unchanged since the drop of the green flag. Replay with Aaron Smith, 7th place in LMP2M in the 342. We saw a lot of drivers get held up here earlier on today.
Oh no. He's got away with that. Massively got away with that one. That could have ended a lot worse there. Getting onto the grass, you basically go in a straight line. There's no way of turning the car. The car has so little grip on the grass. The car is, the grass is like ice on these tires. And yeah, he's really got away with that one. That could have ended a lot worse. He's just skimmed the barriers there and gone on his way. Good for him. As you were saying, the positions haven't changed on MP2 Pro. On time screen, yeah, they've all just gained 2 positions, and those 2 positions for LMP1 cars that have wrecked out of the race. But what that means is, we might see, there you can see right there on the time screen, pretty much everybody else has gained or lost positions except for Bute, who started 6th in LMP2 Pro. He is still 6th, although he is now a good 2.5 minutes behind 5th. And also Tim Perry, who started 5th, dropped down quite a lot and made his way back up to 5th. So good drive there from Tim Perry to catch up that gap. But yeah, the LMP2 Pro has been pretty stagnant in the race. Not too much action from them that we've seen.
And Kieran Smart continues to lead the way in LMP2M. Jean-Francois Elagorge in 2nd place, and you can see him right on that back wing. He wants to make a move, but not a lot of overtaking opportunities, especially in this portion of the racetrack. They head through the Porsche curves, and they're going to head into the very tight forward chicanes that are going to be incredibly difficult to make a move in. Cesar Cabral and Craig Jones have swapped positions, so Cabral up to 3rd, Jones now down to 4th, but they're fairly spread out now on the racetrack as the 339, the 356 go battling back through the forward curves. Kieran Smart for Track Scotland continuing to pull away as they come back across the start-finish line.
Yep, that gap just hovering around about a second. Alex Salmon, he's still gaining on those other 2 and MP1 that are still running. I thought he might slow down, but he's not, but he's doing stuff like this. I think if he was in a race with someone, he's going to send it around the outside there. But he didn't, because he knows there's no need to. He's not in any rush. He's got 2.5 minutes between him and 2nd place. So there is absolutely no reason for him to make any kind of risky moves like that he probably would if he was actually involved in a battle with someone. Roy Mass has gone straight on. He hasn't unlocked the tyres there. The tyres locked up and they stayed locked up until he came to a standstill.
Two to go on the racetrack. They'll grab the white flag next time by and end out the third round of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. Alex Salmon leads the way for LMP1. Paulo Munoz leads the way for LMP2. Kieran Smart leads the way for LMP2AM as we work our way through lap number 18. Kieran Smart versus Jean-Francois Elagorge. The only battle for the lead in a class that we have on the racetrack right now. They dive back into turn 13. Can Jean-Francois Elagorge get by Kieran Smart for the lead in LMP2AM? You're on board with the Devotion Sim Racing 356.
Yeah, that gap has come down quite significantly in the last few minutes. So we'll see. We might have a battle for the win in LMP2AM as we make our way onto the final few laps of the race. It's a bit of a lock-up up in front. That is Andrew Thompson in LMP1. Something I've actually noticed, I'll have to ask him after the race, is that out of the corners, he's not as fast as the other two drivers in LMP1. And I think that might just be because he's not using boost. It's something that if you don't know about it, it's not obvious. And he could just be losing a lot of time because he's not using boost. That really could be a reason. Because if you don't use the boost manually, iRacing decides it will deploy for you, but it doesn't really do a very good job of it. So for Andrew Thompson, that might be why he's 2.5 minutes down. Because yeah, not using boost is going to lose you a second or two pretty much every single lap. At a circuit like Le Mans, probably quite a bit more than that. Smart doing pretty well in the middle sector there, actually. He's not lost. He's actually gained a couple tenths of a second since we left him on the Morsand Straight. But they will have, I believe, 2 laps to go. Despite their not being able to finish the next lap within 2 minutes, within the 1 hour mark, this man, Alex Salmon, will. So he's going to go for another lap, and since he's not lapping them, actually he might lap them. He might. He might just be close enough. They're heading to the Ford chicanes. Salmon's just heading out the Porsche curve, so it'll be close between them. But yeah, they're going for 2 laps to go. If Alex Salmon passes them on this final lap, he's about to come across the line and get the white flag. If he passes them on this lap, then it will be their white flag lap as well. Otherwise, they're going to have to go again.
Well, Alex Salmon takes the white flag one more time around Le Mans, and then we will be over and done with this round of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. Here's your current LMP2AM leader, Kieran Smart. Jean-Francois Elagorge trying his hardest to get around him for the lead, just unable to do so. If we get that shot down the Mulsanne Straight once again, you might be able to see the LMP1 of Alex Salmon peek his way around. We might be able to see it on this camera angle here just a moment. There he is, peeking across the hill there. And there is your current LMP1 leader, and it looked like Alex Salmon, he didn't compete in qualifying because he had a qualifying ban for this race. And he ended up starting at the tail end of the LMP1 field, but after a first lap incident, found himself in the lead. Alexander Spetz got the lead back. Then, very quickly, Alexander Spetz had a problem and through the forward curves, slammed it into the wall and ended up retiring from this race. That put Alex Salmon back to the lead, and he is looking to win this race by about 3.5 seconds over your leader. 2.2 seconds over your leader. Kieran Smart still trying to hold on to the LMP2AM lead as Paulo Munoz holds on to the LMP2 Pro lead. And here's what we were talking about. Alex Salmon catching up to those LMP2AM drivers. We'll see if he does on this lap as he makes his way out of the Mulsanne straight down towards turn 20, 21, and 22 at Indianapolis.
I think he'll have him. I think he will.
We'll see as they make their way down the straightaway. There's Alex Salmon. He might reach him. It just depends on when.
I think because he's going to gain a lot. He's going to gain a lot through Indianapolis and a lot through the Porsche curves. I think he's going to have them, but it is going to be tight. Actually, no, it's not. Look how much he's gained just through Indianapolis. He can carry so much more speed. He'll have them both down the straight.
Through turn 22, down into 23 at the Porsche curves. Jean-Francois Elagorge going to be the first one, and there goes Kieran Smart going to be the second one. Alex Salmon goes right by your LMP2 AM leaders. So that means LMP2 AM now on the final lap of the race as well. And Alex Salmon going to lead them through the Porsche curves incredibly quickly, mind you, in that LMP1 versus the LMP2 cars. It wasn't quite 24 hours. It was only 1 hour, but still an exciting one at that. And coming home through the Ford curves to take home the win here at Le Mans. Alex Salmon looking for the points lead and the win at Le Mans. He gets it done in round 3.
And there goes Smart across the line, flashing the lighters, giving it a bit of a weave. Visibly very happy with that performance. He was battling for 7th a few minutes ago. And now he's just taken the win of the race. Now you can see here, heading through Porsche curve, some of the lower end of the LMP2 AM category. Through karting and now heading down towards the Corvette curves. This is Sorensen, and he's got Leclerc just behind him. Where on the circuit are the LMP2 Pro leaders? That is the question, and the answer to that question is Mulsanne. Yeah, they are in Mulsanne corner, so we've got a bit of time to wait for them. We're going to have to wait for them for quite a bit, actually. The race is still on here, actually. That's Boutet. After that unfortunate incident with his engine not playing ball, Nathan Healy's under a bit of pressure now.
On board with Julian Boutet, recently converted over to LMP2 Pro from LMP1. Trying to get by Nathan Healy as they both get loose heading through the Porsche curves.
Oh, he's touched the grass as well. He's actually not got the best exit at all. Boutet might actually make a move. No, he's just about held on to it. There's surely no way that Boutet makes a move now unless Healy has some kind of catastrophic final few corners. Through the Ford chicanes he goes, over the curbs, and he should, yep, he does. He has that in the bag, takes 15th place in LMP2 AM, and Boutet has to settle for 6th.
Making their way through the final corner as well. Paulo Munoz through the final forward curve, and he's going to take his way into this first win of the season for LMP2 Pro. Paulo Munoz for Pure Sims Esports, your LMP2 Pro winner.
Josh, do you want to? The other car that just crossed the line now was 2nd place in LMP1. That was him finishing the race. That's how much of a gap Alex Salmon had out in front. Wow.
And there's the other LMP1 car. That's Andrew Thompson coming across the line.
We just been pointed out that Alex Salmon is already in the interview waiting area. He can't wait to get in. He's probably ecstatic, but some of the cars haven't even finished yet.
We'll take a look at your full race results here for the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. Alex Salmon grabs the win here in Le Mans Jan Korbs and Andrew Thompson rounds out your field in LMP1. Lockie Brown finishes all the way down in 26th overall, and Alexander Spetz retiring from the race early on. Paulo Munoz finishes in first for LMP2 Pro. Alexis Bebert in second place. Timo Hayden, Wes Van Dyke, and Owen Carroll rounds out your LMP2 Pro top 5. And then Kieran Smart grabs the win for LMP2M. Jean-Francois Hellegorsch rounds out your top 2 there. Cesar Cabral, Craig Jones, Tim Perry, your top 5. Matthew McBride, Aaron Smith, Marco Pavona, Jason Marichal, Houston Baumeister, Hans Blanquart, Thomas Sorensen, Marcel Leclerc, Kevin Richard, Nathan Healy, Julian Boutte, Roy Moss, Lockie Brown, Alexander Spetz, and Kevin Kittleman round out your entire field of the day. Actually, Chris Daines technically rounds out your full field in 29th, and then Erijos Giomantas did not start the race in the 271. Well, we do have post-race interviews standing by, and we are going to kick it off with your LMP1 winner, Alex Salmon, joining us now here in the booth. Alex, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. What a day for you. It started out a bit low. You had a qualifying ban, but you worked your way back up to the win. How was that race?
Yeah, that was good fun. Yeah, first of all, really unlucky for Alex. Yeah, it looked like he just made a mistake on the curbs there. I think, yeah, he probably could have cruised to that win quite easy. It's a bit of a shame for him because, yeah, he definitely had the pace on me today.
And you worked your way back up to the lead, and you had such a huge lead over anybody else in LMP1. Were you calm trying to keep that lead, or were you just hoping that you would not make any mistakes there? Because you had a huge gap for over half of the race.
Yeah, I had to keep myself quite calm and just, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, my dad, well, me and my brother have been kart racing and even sim racing now. He's always said to me, to finish first you have to finish. And so I just kind of, that race definitely proved that. And so I just had to kind of drive 70% and just make sure I brought it home, really. And not make too much of a mess in the LMP2 field either.
Well, we move forward in this championship as the schedule now moves over to Silverstone. Obviously, a lot shorter of a course, and obviously a course that a lot more people know from iRacing. Are you confident at Silverstone, and what is your confidence level at now heading into the remaining rounds, because you are taking over that points lead?
Yeah, Silverstone, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think probably the 2 ARL guys are going to have the pace on me again. So I've just got to sit back and wait and see what happens with them, really. I think it's in their hands. So, yeah, we'll just try our best.
And great race today and a great win in LMP1. Anybody else you would like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Taylor again for spotting me through that. And all the OCM guys that have been a massive help this week. And the break week as well.
Thank you very much for joining us. That's Alex Salmon for your winner in OCM Sim Racing of the LMP1 field. We'll send it over to Dane Baird, who is going to be standing by with Andrew Thompson, third place finisher in LMP1.
Andy, welcome to the commentary box and third place in your debut.
Yeah, wow. I wasn't expecting that, that's for sure. I was hoping there'd be some sort of argy-bargies in front of me, and unlucky but fortunate for me that there obviously was, because I saw the pace of the guys in the practice and I was like, wow, they are quick. So my strategy was just to keep it as clean as I possibly could and just keep the consistent laps going in. So yeah, no, I'm over the moon with the third. I didn't expect that at all.
Absolutely. I have 2 questions for you. First of all, what are you expecting heading into the next round of the championship at Silverstone?
Yeah, I mean, Silverstone's probably one of my favourite tracks, actually. I enjoy Silverstone. It's nice, and in this car, it should be really good. It hugs the corners like it's on rails. I just need to put a fair bit of practice in to get up to the rest of the guys. But no, I'm really happy with today's result, and yeah, I couldn't have expected anything more, I think.
I have one final question. Do you have a boost button mapped?
I do indeed, yes.
You do, because out of the corners, it just looked like when you were next to Corbs, it just looked like you didn't. And I'm not sure. Maybe it was just difference in boost strategy, because that's quite a big part of driving the LMP1. I know that you're very new to the field, so I didn't actually know if you knew there was a boost button in the car.
Thanks, Dane. Appreciate that. No, what it was I knew he was a lot faster than me, and I thought, you know what? There's no point fighting with the guy. I'm just going to let him pass.
Okay, that makes sense.
There was just no point fighting with him. I did have boost, but I just conserved it for when I wanted to use it rather than putting it. Because I saw some LMP2s in front of me, so I thought if I use it now, I'm going to waste it. So I just kept hold of it because there was no point fighting Jan.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah, Andy, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth for a quick chat. Congrats on the 3rd place in your league debut. And yeah, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to my Performance Link eSport guys. You know, they're a great bunch of guys. They obviously cheer me on. I was looking at them in the chat, and I was getting a lot of confidence with what they were saying. So yeah, big shout out to them guys. And to you guys, of course.
Well, thank you, Andy. That's what I was looking for. No, but Andy, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, gents.
And it was great to hear from. And Josh, we've got time for one more. So who are you going to pick? You've got a couple drivers to choose from.
We're going to go standing by with Paulo Munoz, LMP2 Pro winner today for Pure Sims Esports. Paulo, welcome to the commentary box. How was that race from down in the car?
Hey guys. It was fun, first of all, but also quite challenging in the second stint, even though it probably didn't look like it.
Well, it certainly didn't look like it because everybody in LMP2 Pro today remained unchanged from where they started the day in the class. So you led every single lap in that 2:13. How was the car? Was it feeling good other than the challenges you had during the mid part of the race to late part in the race? Was that car handling well? Because it seemed like you didn't have any challenges from anybody in P2 Pro behind you.
Oh yeah, the car felt fantastic, especially in the first stint. On the second stint, it's just hard to keep concentration, especially when you're lapping alone and there's no traffic in this series, as we know. So I was really struggling with keeping my concentration, but the car felt great throughout the race, but especially in the first stint.
And next week, we're going to make our way to Silverstone, less than half the length of Le Mans that we raced at today, but reaching the latter half of this season. This was obviously your best finish of the season. Do you have confidence now heading into the remaining rounds that you might be able to make a championship run in LMP2 Pro?
Well, Silverstone has never been one of my great tracks. Le Mans is probably my best track, so I was very confident this week. Not so much for next week. I know Team is quite quick there, and he has a good setup. So hopefully I can get on a win next week, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here in the booth at Apex Racing TV. Anybody else you would like to thank?
Well, you guys for broadcasting and organizing the league, of course, and everyone on my team, Pure Sims eSport, and all our sponsors.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here. Your LMP2 Pro winner, Paulo Munoz, and Dane, an end of round number 3, and we're heading to Silverstone next week. We've heard the drivers, exactly what they're thinking. What are you thinking? Because we had to, I believe, looking at the stats, almost the shortest track we've been to this entire season, but definitely another one of, like Hockenheim, familiar with Formula 1, a lot of drivers familiar with it, but obviously had a bit of a configuration change in the sim not too long ago. These guys are going to have a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not an easy circuit. Quite difficult to get right. There are some corners where they're very line-dependent corners. There's not like a corner. I would take turn 1 at Hockenheim, for example. You can take a couple of lines through there. You basically just send it and pray. Silverstone, you've got to be a lot more precise with your inputs. You've got to make sure that you get the line spot on if you want to go quickly. And it was a season opener last season. It was a great round there. It was actually very clean, which was surprising for us in the first round. of last season. And hopefully we can see the same sort of thing there next week, because it gave us a great show last season. Hopefully it can do the same in just a week's time.
Well, we thank you all for joining us here on Apex Racing TV. And remember, click that subscribe button, put the notification bell on YouTube, and follow us on Twitch. We have a lot of upcoming events here on Apex Racing TV, including later on tonight, the Radical Racing Challenge Round 8 at Road America. And also tonight, you can catch the MSRA National Series from the Darlington Raceway. Tomorrow, Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series, along with the Formula 3.5 Championship Round 8 over at Interlagos. Then we have the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbeck, SRF Weekend Warriors, IGP Fun F3 VRS, iRacing Israel League, Rickmatech World Challenge, Ray Esports Racing League, Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, and then find us back here in 1 week's time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, on May 14th, when we have round number 4 of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We would like to thank Wave Italy for being the title sponsor of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship this season. Wave Italy's mission is to offer the best experience in driving simulation to an even broader audience, with the aim of conveying the thrill of a real race to passionate and professionals of esport and sim racing. We offer extremely performing and realistic devices, also suitable for corporate or private events. An unforgettable, immersive driving experience. Wave Italy are providing the overall winner of LMP1 the choice of their high-end Wave Impetus Imola or Wave Impetus Monza sim pedals in a color of their choice. Overall winner of LMP2 gets half a day of professional coaching at the Wave Italy Professional Training Center in Verona. To get 5% off any product at waveitaly.com, use the code APEXRACING5 at checkout. We also like to thank Virtual Racing School as one of the sponsors of Apex Racing TV. You can improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs, road and oval racing setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. You can also check out SDK Gaming. They provided all the overlays here on Apex Racing TV. You can add a virtual live HUD to iRacing, show timing towers, enhance relative boxes, mini-maps, fuel calculators, and more. Stream to Twitch with the most complete overlay on iRacing, sdk-gaming.co.uk to check out pricing options. And then, of course, Apex Racing Academy, 29 data packs with setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, and it's all integrated with VRS. Head to apexracingac.com for more information and pricing options there. For Marco Barbonera, Dane Baird, I am Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for tuning in to Round 3 of the Wave Italy Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We'll see you in 1 week's time for Round 4 from Silverstone.